In last week's video, we looked at the Dodgers' supposed super team and how it's apparently destroying baseball. But really, there's another significantly more destructive force in the game. That would be this little thing called Moneyball. If your team isn't in the top 10 in payroll in Major League Baseball, chances are they are a, shall we say, frugal franchise. Yes, indeed. Organizations around the league have found ways to build successful teams without spending billions and billions on free agents. And they've learned to do it using Moneyball, a strategy popularized by writer and statistician Bill James, which involves using sabermetrics, a fancy word for advanced analytics, to evaluate players in unconventional ways. At this point, practically every team around the league has an advanced analytics department, but few have integrated sabermetrics into their operations quite like the Tampa Bay Rays. When the Tampa Bay Rays flew out of the gates to start the 2023 season, the team started to draw comparisons to some of the greatest teams in baseball history. But over the course of 162 games, things have a way of evening out, and the Rays indeed fell back to earth. They finished the season with 99 wins, still a great year by any measure. Their only problem was that the Orioles won 101 games and won the AL East in the last week of the season. The Rays are notorious for operating at the margins, extracting value from the most unlikely places to build winning ball clubs. They don't operate like the Dodgers, who so far this offseason have committed more than $1 billion to just 3 players. The Rays' biggest free agent acquisition by dollar value in franchise history was Zach Eflin, who they signed for $40 million over 3 years before the 2023 season. They obviously have more problems than just a lack of financial willpower and a mediocre stadium in the least ideal location to attract fans. But the Rays are setting the blueprint for stingy owners who don't want to spend money on their teams and risk diminishing their net worth. Tampa Bay has been operating with this level of success since 2008, when they reached the World Series in one of the biggest Cinderella stories of the last few decades. They lost in 5 games to the Philadelphia Phillies, but the model was there. And the Rays continued to be excessively frugal for years. But to this day, Tampa Bay, the newest team in Major League Baseball along with the Arizona Diamondbacks, has still not won a World Series. Their analytics-heavy approach prevents genuinely good baseball minds like Kevin Cash from trusting their gut when Cash pulled Blake Snell from Game 6 of the 2020 World Series against the Dodgers after just 73 pitches through the 6th inning. The Rays would go on to lose that game and subsequently the series. Nobody outside of the Rays organization knows who really made the decision to pull Snell, who had limited the Dodgers to just 2 hits through 5 2/3 innings. But any logical person could deduce that the front office told Cash not to let starters face opposing lineups a 3rd time through the order. Why? Because the analytics say so. There's a reason the Rays still haven't won a World Series. They refuse to spend money at a level even remotely close to the major league average. Their payroll has been in the bottom 5 of the league for practically their entire existence, and it's not all down to their poor attendance numbers. Ownership groups in baseball are comprised mostly of multi-billionaires, and without question, do they have the financial muscle to pay the best players? The Rays team payroll in 2023 was $76 million per Spotrac. By contrast, 38-year-old Max Scherzer and 40-year-old Justin Verlander made a combined $86 million last year. And while the Rays were among the league's best and the Mets, Scherzer and Verlander's team on opening day, were not, the Rays' success will continue to push owners in small to medium markets to consider cutting costs everywhere. And when most teams aren't willing to pay the game's biggest superstars the money they want, those players will end up in one of 3, maybe 4 places, primarily the country's biggest media markets. The remaining teams will be faced with the following dilemma: cut costs, implement Moneyball, and risk alienating their fan base and even lose the team, or invest somewhat outside of their means to keep fans in attendance even if it means short-term losses. Moneyball has been effective at getting teams to the postseason. The one thing separates the good teams from the World Series winners: superstars. Spending money, specifically in the right places on the right people, works. Just ask the Texas Rangers. Before the Rays really adopted Moneyball, there were the Oakland Athletics. The A's are known more for being the Moneyball team than anything else, but their fatal flaw has been taking frugality too far. Oakland has absolutely had the talent to make a push at a World Series, especially in 2019, but owner John Fisher, Dave Kaval, and the team brass refused to budge on their demands in negotiations with the city of Oakland to build a new stadium. and as a result, the A's will leave Oakland following 2024. In 2002, the A's won 20 consecutive games, but were bounced in the ALDS by the 94-win Minnesota Twins. They also had a potent team in 2006, but were swept by the eventual AL pennant winners in Detroit. The 2019 iteration of the team featured some of the most talent Oakland has had since their championship-winning teams in the 80s, but by refusing to increase spending to retain talents like Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Marcus Semien, and others, the A's decided to tank, and they tanked hard, letting Semien leave in free agency after the 2020 season and trading Chapman and Olson after the 2021 season. Moneyball, at the end of the day, can only take you so far. If owners are serious about winning, then they have to make a choice. Maximize profits or pay the players. John Fisher and the A's chose the former, and it looks like it'll cost the city of Oakland their last professional sports team. Moneyball has shown us, between Oakland and Tampa Bay at least, that it can take you to the postseason. But without a serious commitment to investing in the team and not just throwing money at the best free agents and biggest superstars, Moneyball is just an idea. And so long as owners believe that making the playoffs is all you need to do to keep your fans happy, Moneyball alone will be more detrimental to the sport than a team like the Dodgers spending with the intent to win and win repeatedly. Moneyball appears to just be good business on the outside. Extracting value from the most unlikely places is business strategy 101. Minimize costs, maximize revenue. But given this era of player mobility and free agency, players, rightly so, are incentivized to chase after contracts that pay them what they're worth, or at least what they think they're worth. And after a certain point, your options become pay the players or lose them to the teams with more money or a higher willingness to spend. There's a reason the Dodgers feel comfortable deferring the vast majority of Ohtani's contract until the end of his 10 years playing for LA. They know the revenue Ohtani will generate for the club, regardless of how many championships they win, will put them in a place to make that lucrative contract look like a steal. And when it's all said and done, the Dodgers will be grateful that Ohtani didn't ask for more money. I'm not saying the Rays should have signed Ohtani, but they sure don't seem likely to back up the Brinks truck for anything anytime soon. And that's why it'll continue to be so close yet so far for the Rays, A's, and penny pinchers alike. That's all for now. Let me know what you think about Moneyball as a whole down in the comments section below, and if you've made it this far, a like is greatly appreciated. And be sure to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.